universally speaking, the one thing that we all want more of is time. And it's the one thing we can never get enough of. We always have so much on our plates as entrepreneurs, small business owners, and many of the people here, they are parents. They are taking care of parents. They're doing good in the world. They have so much on their plate. They're spinning so many plates, but they're at max capacity. So today we're talking about something that has completely transformed our lives over here at the Luminary Leadership Company. It has given me over 20 plus hours a week back. And if you're here, it's because you care about leadership. You care about elevating into your utmost potential. So we're going to be talking about something that I admittedly never thought I would be speaking about, which is the all the rage AI tool, ChatGPT. Okay, let's get to it. Hey, you're listening to the Luminary Leadership Podcast, and I'm your host, Liz. This is the space where we equip overwhelmed entrepreneurs to become the confident, visionary leader their business, team, family, legacy need to win. After working with countless entrepreneurs over the last decade plus, I've noticed this theme. No matter the level of success they achieved, and I've worked with some incredibly successful business owners, they get to this point where they're asking, now what? What am I being called to next? What does next look like? How do I get there? If you're listening to this, you get it. You're craving more impact, and you want to feel less frantic and in the weeds of your day-to-day roles, and instead lead with that vision and that peace and that intention and that clarity. You want to wake up each morning with that clarity and vision and the time and the margin to do what you love in your business and in your life with your family. This show is where industry leaders come to grow into their next level of achievement and purpose and impact and legacy, success in business and true legacy at home. Get ready, because we both know you don't just need another strategy. It is time for your breakthrough. I am 0% a tech nerd. I am not always on the cutting edge of what's coming out in the market, but one thing that I have absolutely jumped on full force is the power of ChatGPT for saving time in our businesses. Okay, so we know that the most valuable resource to us is time. It's the most fleeting. It's the one we can never get enough of. So when a tool comes out that's going to get me around the dinner table with my kids faster, or if it's going to give me more precious time back in the morning with my husband before the chaos ensues and all the kids awake, I want to get my hands on it. And I was resistant to the idea of even going anywhere near AI because I had these preconceived notions of how it's going to take over our world and ruin society, like so many other things that have come to fruition in our modern era that I feel like is stripping us of our potential, is stripping our kids of just true childhood because they're all on devices, they're all on tech. I have so many opinions about that, but that's not what today is about. Like everything that is created, it can be used and harnessed for good or for evil. And today I'm going to talk about, as someone who cares about your family, who cares about the longevity and the legacy of the work that you're doing and the business that you're creating, it's time to jump on the AI bandwagon. But I say that with a bucket of salt because you're going to do it differently than some. Okay, so I'm going to share the ways that I've been leveraging this tool to save me over 20 hours a week. And no, that's not an exaggeration. I'm going to walk you through the exact ways I'm using it. Now, I didn't fully grasp the power of it in the beginning. I was like, what is it? Like a glorified Google? Like I said, not on the cutting edge here, but this is something that I've really jumped into with 2 feet, and it's incredibly powerful, but it's all about how you use it. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs saying, yeah, I messed around with it. It wasn't really like giving me the information that I wanted, or it wasn't writing in my style, or it wasn't really my thing. Well, you're going to get left behind because it's all about how you prompt this tool. It's all about how you leverage this tool. And I'm just going to share what I know thus far. And with time, I'll be sharing more and more about how we're leveraging it, because I'm all for working smarter, not harder. I am all for getting time back in your day for the most precious pieces of your life so that you're not lost in doing work that is busy work, that isn't fulfilling, that isn't lighting your soul on fire, and you have more time and capacity for the work that actually moves the needle in your business and changes your family's life, that gives you that freedom and prosperity that we're all hunting down hardcore. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, in case there are people here who have no clue what I'm talking about, ChatGPT is one of many AI tools. It's not the only one. The same way you, back in the day, could go ask Jeeves, you could go on Google, you could go on Bing. They were just different search engines. There are other tools aside from ChatGPT, but I like to talk about this one because it's free, and for the tech dummies like me, it's super user friendly. So that's why I'm speaking specifically to this. Now, I'm not going to give you a detailed step-by-step of every feature of the tool, but I'm going to talk specifically about how, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, I'm getting back time in my day. So this is a tool, it's an AI, so artificial intelligence language model. This one in specific was developed by OpenAI. And it's kind of creepy. It can generate very human-like responses. For the first month of playing around with this, I kept using such manners with it because I felt like I was talking to a freaking person. It's weird. I was like, can you please do this? And it would give me a response back, and I didn't love the response, and I felt guilty being like, yeah, I'm not, I don't like the way you said this. It was really good. I swear. I'm not mad. I'm trying to prompt it thinking like I'm actually having a conversation. That's how human-like it is. But again, this is a computer. This is a, robot type generated tool that you have to learn to work with, but it is a very conversational thing. So if you're using it like Google, you're probably, definitely missing the mark on its capabilities. So let's talk about some different ways that I'm using ChatGPT specifically in my business that's saving me a buttload of time. So the first one is customer support. Now, let me preface all of these tips by saying I am adamant about the fact that we're not going to lose the humanity of our small business. I come from a generation or, multiple generations of entrepreneurs, and I witnessed the power of connection and, being able to love on your people and connect with your people. I don't want to replace that at this juncture in my business, nor are we big enough that we have to leverage the power of it. But there are ways that you can use it that still allow you to keep the humanity, like an actual human being responding and making it personalized, but still save you time. So I'm going to reference what I wrote down here so I didn't forget. I wanted to brain dump this whole list of things that we're using it for. And the first is creating this library of frequently asked questions that we get all the time. So we've got our podcasts, we have our courses, we have our masterminds, we have our events, different programs and pieces of content we put out into the world, and therefore it generates a lot of response. Sometimes we'll get people writing into the show saying what they want to hear more of, or asking questions about, a feature or a tool that we spoke about on the show. When we get a question more than once, we create this bank of those questions. And we can even use ChatGPT as a tool to better answer those questions. So we will actually go to it and say, we're getting this question a lot. What are bullet out the top 5 ways to respond to this and the best resources to point these people towards? And it generates ideas that maybe we wouldn't come up with because it's very one-dimensional when people are just asking us, right? Because we're just speaking from our own experience and our experience with our clients. But when you put it out to this aggregate of all the information on the internet and it distills it down to the 5 best things, now you have outside perspectives that you can share with your clients or the people that are reaching out via customer support. And you can bank those in a Google Doc, wherever you want, to pull from anytime you get questions like that. The other thing that I love it for in terms of how it operates is you create what you call a model, or you'll open up a section in ChatGPT and you will type in a question, or you feed it some information so it can give you better answers to the stuff that you're asking of it. That gets saved in that prompt area, and now it remembers anything from that specific section. So, for example, in the beginning, I wanted to test its copywriting skills, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So I was specifically feeding it my copy because I want it to understand my tone and my voice and how I write and what our company is about. I wanted it to know about Luminary Leadership Company. So I gave it information. I pulled the copy from our website and I fed it into ChatGPT. And now that's all saved in one prompt. So anytime I'm having it write anything in my tone or come up with ideas around how we do things at our company and I put in our values as a business, it spits it out in alignment with those things. So you can save it based on those prompts. The other thing we use it for is making sure that we're answering in an appropriate way. So once in a while, you'll get a message that you're like, I don't really know exactly how to answer this. It's very intriguing to see how ChatGPT would direct you in answering that question. You can literally put that, let's say it's an email that someone reaches out with, put it into ChatGPT and say, how would you respond to this person? Write it in a friendly, kind tone, or write it in a very professional tone, or however you want it to respond. And then it can generate an actual email that can save you time. So if you have someone working customer service in your business and you want to get them back hours in their day or pay them less because you don't, or not pay them less, but have to pay them for less hours and use their time towards other tasks that ChatGPT is not doing, that's a great way to do it. Another way that I've been using it, which is personally my favorite way, is research. I'm a research junkie. I love diving deep into specific topics, and I used to use things like Google or actual books, which I still do because I'm a reader and I like learning and I highlight everything, and we have an entire room that's a library in our house, and I pull and reference those books that I've read over the years. But sometimes I want something quick. So I use ChatGPT as a tool to help me know what kind of content I should be putting out into the world, right? So here's an example. I have a podcast, the Luminary Leadership Podcast, and every week, well, usually I'm batch recording, but let's just say every week I'm sitting down to record an episode for the show. And I want to make sure that what I'm recording is stuff totally in alignment with my audience, which is you, other leaders and entrepreneurs out there looking to scale and grow and have more freedom and prosperity and possibility in their lives as they unlock their potential, okay? Well, I can go to ChatGPT and I can get either some research to back up the topics that I'm talking about. So let's say I do an episode all about ChatGPT and I'm like, man, I want to make sure that I'm covering all my bases here. I don't really know how to describe what this tool really is or the power of it, or maybe it has some features that I haven't even touched yet. I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it about ChatGPT and I'm going to have it spit out some information. And other times I'm talking about things that I want data to back up a leadership point I'm making, or I want quotes to really beef up an argument that I'm presenting through the podcast. I leverage it for that. I have it do research for me the same way I used to pay people on our team to do some research and bring that to me so that I can aggregate it and turn it into a piece of content. Now ChatGPT does it in seconds. And when I say seconds, I do mean seconds. It's wild how fast it is. Okay. I can also have it summarize points for me. So sometimes I'll be researching and I'll find this article, but it's like 30 pages. Maybe it's something in the medical space or something in the business space. And I'm like, I kind of need the Cliff Notes version of this so that I can distill it down to the most important points. And I can put that pertinent information into my blog post, into my podcast, into my piece of social content. So I'll put that article into ChatGPT and I'll say, okay, give me the 5 most important points on this specific article, and I'll pull that. It can make reports or research articles more digestible and put them into a different format, maybe bulleted out so that you can just read the highlights. Things that will save you time. I used to personally spend hours upon hours researching because I think that's one of the most critical things to do as a content creator, especially in the space of leadership and business. You want to speak accurately. You don't want to just speak only on opinion or your own personal experiences. You want to pull other information. You want to give data. You want to give direction. You want to leverage the gifts of other people that have put their works out there and cite them and quote them and give them credit for it. But it's great to bring in other thoughts and other ideas. Well, this is a great way to save a ton of time. So I'd say on average, I was spending a minimum of about 5 hours a week just on research because I do a lot more than just the podcast. I do the blog. I often will interview people for my podcast. So it helps me do the research on the person I'm interviewing. It pulls in all the really cool things they've done. It pulls in any data about them. It pulls in their past works. It pulls in their thoughts and ideas, and it can put it into really bite-sized content that I can pull and then put into my outline for my interview, for example. The other thing that I love from a research perspective is, as business owners, we should be constantly doing market research and competitive analysis. And that was something that, again, I was spending hours on each month. It's not something I do every week, but it was something that we as a team did each month. But now we can leverage the power of AI to do this competitive research for us. And it's not just based on opinion anymore. It's based on the facts that are being pulled from our competitors. So we can look at things like what other people in our space are creating, what they're naming those things, how they're the traffic that they're generating, the type of people that are following their content. We can get all that information through ChatGPT very quickly and effectively. So research is probably my favorite. The other thing that I think is really cool from a content creation standpoint is how you can leverage it for creating content, creating incredible content that really resonates with your people, which I think is the most important thing, right? Sometimes we create content in a vacuum. We're like, oh yeah, we love this, so our people are gonna love this, or this is gonna be super interesting to them, instead of really finding out if that's true first. And this kind of builds on the idea of market research. So when you want to create this high quality content for your business, it can be really time consuming. If you're a content creator, you know this. If you care about the quality of your content, you know this. But you can use ChatGPT to help you figure out, one, what content is best for your audience, two, how to position it, and three, in the actual creation process of it. And you can take this as far as you want. Now I'm going to back up for a second. I really care. So I'm a writer by trade. So I care really, really deeply about my works and my words. And I want them to be my words and in my tone and the way I write. And because of that, I was very hesitant to use ChatGPT for anything content related, because I was like, yeah, no, it's got to be in my voice, or it's not really going to understand, or it's going to write like a robot or whatever. And what I learned quickly was it's all about how you prompt the tool and how you kind of teach it about you and teach it about your values and how you write and the tone in which you write. So I started to do that to almost prove wrong what people were telling me about how I had to use this tool, and I was really hesitant, at least using it for content. So I started to put information into ChatGPT. I write a lot of like my Sunday email that goes out. I put some of those Sunday emails into ChatGPT because it's very story-like. I don't write these dry emails. I write to my readers in a way that's really connective, and I use personal stories. So I'm like, how is this thing gonna ever write like me if I'm just making it so personal? So I put a bunch of my emails in, and I told it, hey, I want you to get to know me and how I create and the type of stuff that I create. And I'm gonna feed this to you, and I want you to digest it, and I want you to get a sense of my tone and my language. And I was like, because I'm skeptical that you can capture this. Again, talking to it like a freaking person, weird. I'm skeptical that you can actually capture this and create stuff like me. So I took some time to give it blog posts, to give it content from my website, all stuff that I had written. And I then challenged it to create some content like me. Hey, I want you to write a blog post about XYZ. And then I wanted to see how it created that piece of content. But then the key was reprompting it, going back to it and saying, okay, yep, that's decent, but I say things a little bit more like this, or I talk in a little bit more of a witty tone, or can you write a little bit more like this, or I would never say this phrase. And I just kind of teach it what I say and what I don't say. So once I did that, it started to really get a sense of how to operate like me. So still, I'm not at a place where I feel comfortable having it write my more personalized content. Like my Sunday emails, for example, and if you want to be on them because they're kind of like the hot commodity in our company, where people just show up for the Sunday email, you can go below and check out or to the show notes and go to luminaryleadershipco.com/insider and you can get access to those. But I digress. Our Sunday emails, for example, are still like, I enjoy sitting down and writing those, so I'm not handing those off to ChatGPT. But for things like helping me write a sales page or helping me create an ad for Facebook or helping me come up with an outline for a podcast, that's really different and hugely time consuming. Another big bulk of my time each week was content creation. It still is because that's essentially my job, but it was astronomically a major part of my schedule each week because I was doing the research, I was coming up with the outline, I was filling in the gap, and then I was recording the thing. Like, there were so many components. Then I was distilling that down into a blog post, and then I was taking it and I was turning it into social content. And that was a massive amount of hours in my week. So now I can use ChatGPT to help me with the content creation process. So for example, if I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a podcast episode that I'm going to record this week, and it is going to be on the idea of imposter syndrome as an entrepreneur. And imposter syndrome is something that all of my clients face, and I'm like feeding this into ChatGPT. This is something all my clients face, no matter the level of success they're at. And I want you to help me come up with, one, the outline for this podcast episode, and then some specific, tangible, tactical things they can implement that will help them get out of imposter syndrome. Now, I already have my ideas around how I've coached my clients and how to break through something like imposter syndrome, but I want to know what it says. Does it have any better ideas, things that I haven't been using? So now it puts it within seconds into an outline, and I can have it elaborate on each section of that outline versus me having to write every last word of this podcast episode. Then once that's completed, I can say, okay, now I want to create a blog post around this and put that out into the world. Can you help me create a blog post? And it will go in and it will take everything that we just created and turn it into a blog post. And then it's like, okay, I want to create a long form YouTube video around this topic, but I don't want it to be as long as the podcast. So help me create an outline and a script for that. And it can help me do that. And it's like, okay, now I want this to be a Facebook ad driving to a freebie that I have on helping people break through imposter syndrome. It can help me, whatever your comfort level is, it can create in full all the content word for word. If you want a script, I don't like operating from scripts. Or it can at least give you the aggregated prompts and pieces of the outline that you can then go riff on or speak on that are going to just bring more ideas to the table when it comes to your content. The other piece when it comes to content creation, and I think this is probably one of the most powerful pieces of the tool itself, is the fact that you can use it to understand your audience better. So I told ChatGPT a lot about my audience. You guys, entrepreneurs, most of my listeners are busy, they're spread thin, they're maxed out on time and capacity, but they have something calling them. They know they're made for another level of success, but they don't want to sacrifice their values and what matters most to get there. They don't want to look back on their life and be like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even there for my kids. My marriage fell apart because I was married to my business. So that's the value system of my people, generally speaking. So I will tell it that, and then I'll say, hey, what are the 10 biggest pain points? Now, this is a great prompt for ChatGPT, so take note. What are the 10 biggest pain points of my ideal client that I just described? Like, what are they searching for solutions for based on problems that they're actively having around my field of study and, interest? And it will spit back to me 10 things that people are actually searching on the internet that fall in line with my ideal client, that are things that now become the spark for content. All 10 of those things that it shares with me, like overcoming imposter syndrome, right? Each one of those becomes a piece of content, because now you know exactly what your people are searching for. It can not only become pieces of content, it can become pieces of paid content. This is stuff that should go into your courses. This is stuff you should be teaching to your clients, because ChatGPT helped you distill down to the biggest thorns in your people's side, okay? At the same time, from a content perspective, I can go to it and say, all right, now that you've given me their biggest problems, what would you say based on SEO? I want to know based on actual search engine optimization and keyword research. What are the most commonly searched questions by my ideal client? And I want the answers that you give me to be high search volume, right? But low competition, meaning a ton of people are searching about this, but not a lot of creators are out there giving them the answer. So now it'll spit out 10 questions that my ideal client, based on SEO and keyword research, is asking. They're searching for, they're putting in a Google search bar right now. And I'm going to be the one that then gives them the answer. So now I know that each one of those questions is going to become a blog post, and it's going to become a podcast episode, and it's going to become stuff that I talk about chunked down in different ways on social media. And it's going to be incorporated into my stuff that I create for my clients from a paid perspective in my courses and my memberships and all of that. So to me, from a content creation perspective, I want to make sure I'm creating what my people need, what they want, what they're actively searching for. And it increases the likelihood of you being found. Now they're going to search this and you're actually going to pop up if you're doing this right, if you're putting the right tags and metadata and using these keywords appropriately in all the content you're putting out. And even from a social media perspective, things like TikTok and YouTube, they're all very SEO friendly. They're not based on just the hashtags you use. They're based on the actual keywords and phrases you're putting in that people are actively searching for. So you do this keyword research and now you have an idea of the type of content to create. So I'm not handing over my total content creation to ChatGPT because that's not my comfort level, because I like to actually create a lot of the content. It's what I'm passionate about and it's where my gifting is. But I'm saving 10 plus hours a week on the research, the ideas, the outlines, right? The examples, the data, the aggregation of all the stuff that's going to then go into my content. You can take it a step further and you can say, now, based on these 10 questions that you just fed to me, I want you to create and put into a table. This is a really cool prompt. So you tell it, I want you to put it into a table format. I want you to feed me back 25 TikTok ideas, TikTok pieces of TikTok content that I can put out. Put it in a table. Let me know what I should be doing in that TikTok video, what specifically I'm speaking on, and give me a script for that video. It will spit out a table, a chart of all these TikTok ideas that you can then go film. So you can take it as far as you want to take it, and you can leverage it for content creation all day long. So already right there, I'm saving 15 hours because I've got the 5 for the research that I was putting in for everything from podcast episodes to stuff that I'm putting into my courses and my content, things I'm bringing to my clients, and into my content creation, which was the bulk of my week. And it really helps to understand where you're spending your time, because you might think right now, like, well, I don't spend that much time creating content, but every minute adds up. How long are you on Instagram and then TikTok and then YouTube and then creating stuff for your podcast and then creating stuff for your clients and then writing your weekly emails and then putting content into your paid resources and creating the freebies? You spend a lot of time if you're a content creator, and this is a way you can save a ton of time as well. Another tool that I love to use this for is in serving my clients. So I have a unique challenge in my business in that I work with people across almost every industry. I work with doctors and lawyers. I work with content creators and social media managers. I work with people that teach babies how to sleep better. And I work with people who are in different faith type industries. I work with writers and speakers, you name it. And I've had the privilege of coaching someone in that space, which means I have to be pretty well versed in a lot of different arenas. And recently I was helping a client who specifically works in hormone replacement therapy. And although I'm very well versed in the health space, because both the clients I have served have taught me so much about things in the health space, we as a family are insanely passionate about all things health. So I research a lot. I read a lot of books. If I'm not reading a business book or listening to a business podcast, I'm listening to a health related podcast or reading a health related book, and I'm going down multitude of rabbit holes digesting content in those areas. But hormone replacement therapy wasn't one that I was super confident in. So although I'm coaching her specifically on how to scale her business, and a lot of those principles are tried and true across any industry, I wanted to have a better sense of how it works specifically for her. So when I went into ChatGPT, this is what I fed it. I said, I spoke as though I was my client. I am a hormone replacement therapy. I run a hormone replacement therapy practice. I serve women from the ages of 35 up through 60. I help them when they come to me with issues and symptoms such as brain fog and fatigue and weight gain and so on. The primary way I like to serve my clients and my specific niche is around testosterone replacement for women who are facing these challenges. My goal is to grow and scale my business online and get out of trading time for money versus having to see individual patients and with a billable hour in my practice in person. What are some, and then I just went to work on ChatGPT. I started with what are some creative ways and really smart ways to scale my business online and get me out of this time for money model. I want you to coach me as though you are an expert in online business scaling for the last 30 plus years and you're a sought out expert in your field. Now go, coach me. And it gave me all these different ideas and ways to scale. Now, granted, a lot of them I knew didn't work for her, and a lot of them are ones that we're leveraging already because this is my arena of focus. But I wanted to hear how it talked specifically to her trade, to what she did. Then I went a step further and I said, okay, now what digital offers would best serve my clients? And then once I got those answers, you can then take that and say, okay, now help me create, let's say, an online course teaching women about testosterone hormone replacement therapy and why they might use it, and use catchy titles for each of the modules. Now help me name the course. Like, there's no limit to what you can feed this thing and how much it can give back. So I often prep for my individual calls with my clients for quite some time because they're paying a lot of money to get a lot of support. But I was able to come to the table with some new ideas that were specific to her industry and helped me research. And I didn't keep this a secret from her. I said, hey, I was working with ChatGPT this morning, prepping for your call. These are some of the ideas I came up with. Now, I elaborated on those ideas and I think we should go from this angle, but I thought this one was really unique. I hadn't thought of that. So you can use it to prep and to support your clients better and to be a better coach, to be a better service provider, to be someone who's more well-versed in your industry, who understands things from different and unique angles. It's so powerful. I also really love to use it for sales and marketing. So you can use prompts to help you generate leads, to help you better target your clients in ads, to have better subject lines so you have better open rates on your emails. You can have better titles for your blog posts and your podcasts and ask ChatGPT to help you create something that is SEO powerful and increases your open rates or increases your click-through rates or helps you go viral in your content. Also, if you've ever just beat your head against a wall when it comes to creating sales-specific content, so sales pages, long form, short form, sales emails, a sales sequence in your email, sales copy for anything that you're creating, whether it's a social post or anything, you can use ChatGPT to help you come up with really strong sales content. So one thing I loved was that I realized that it understood copywriting. I used to be a copywriter and I used to write a lot of sales copy. And one thing people don't understand is regular copy is not the same as sales copy. So I would go in and I would prompt it and I would say, what styles of sales copy do you understand and do you write in? And it spit out probably about 15 different types of sales copy style that it can write in, and I could pick which style I wanted. And then I said, okay, now I'm looking for you to create a long form sales page for this specific offer. And now here's a trick that I've found really effective. And all of this is being done, by the way, on the free version of ChatGPT. There is a paid version. The time of this recording, it's about $20 a month, I believe. But I've done all of this with the free version. So I believe at this juncture, since it's pretty new, ChatGPT's paid version, it's just a little bit faster, but this is so freaking fast that I have had no issues and no wait times. In the beginning, there were some kinks and you had to wait a little bit, but now it seems to be a lot faster. What I've realized is let's say you have it creating a piece of long form content, whether it be email or a blog post or a social post, or really even longer than that, like a sales page. Instead of saying, write me a sales page for this offer, here's what the product's about, here's our ideal client and all of that, I have it create an outline. And then I chunk down the outline, and I have, let's say the outline is 5 pieces long, where it's like, here's the intro to the sales page, then we go into agitating the pain points, then it goes into who we are as a company and details on the offer, all that kind of stuff. I will instead have it chunk that down. So I'll say, okay, now that you've written outline of section 1, where we introduce, the product and us as a company, go write that in actual long form content, write it in this tone. I've already fed it information about our company and my writing style, so it knows how to write it. And then it will write the first section. Then I go in and I have it write the second section. What I found is it will elaborate and go deeper, versus if you have it write all 5 sections in one swoop, it keeps it shorter and it doesn't write it as well as it could if you were chunking it down into pieces. So that would be my recommendation for that. The other thing you can have it do is help you come up with creative names for things. Sometimes I beat my head against the wall, like, you can't see the label from inside the bottle, right? So for my clients, I can help them name things, modules, courses, programs, subject lines, books, anything. And it's so fun. It's one of my gifts. For me, forget it. It's like I second guess it, I overthink it, I doubt myself. But ChatGPT has helped me come up with titles for things that are SEO friendly, so we know this is going to actually come up in search results. It is just a smart way to name something. It's catchy, it's powerful, and then help me create taglines for things. So you can really leverage it for the creative stuff too. It's not all just the technical stuff. So what I've done, because this is such a beefy topic, it's such an important topic, I'm going to go deeper in future episodes. But what I wanted to do is just consolidate everything I talked about today and put it into a download for you to get for free. It's just how I'm using ChatGPT to save myself over 20 hours a week in work. And honestly, that 20 hours is creeping up because now we're using it within our team. If you have a team, think about if you're paying someone hourly or even on retainer, or they're salaried or whatever it might be, their time is precious. You don't want to be like, a corporate company that hires people, pays them a salary, and 50% of that time or more is being spent on busy work. If you can buy back your people's time and put it towards the needle moving stuff within your business and allow ChatGPT to save them time and the other stuff, don't be afraid to do it. If you've hired someone from the past, like before a tool like this existed, to write blog posts for you, what if you had them saving time on the research and the writing of the blog by leveraging ChatGPT? They just go in and clean up the blog post so it aligns more with how your style and your company's style, and then you put their time towards a needle mover that ChatGPT doesn't do, and now you are moving the needle more quickly and more effectively in your business. This is going to lead to more profit. It's not just about getting time back, it's about actually growing your business faster. So I hope this intro to ChatGPT, why I'm using it and how I'm using it, is something that's helpful, and you can just kind of take it and tweak it, play with it, have some fun with it, figure it out, and make sure you go download this tool that's going to lay out everything I talked about today, but it actually has prompts. Prompting is the most important piece of this puzzle, and if you're trying to figure out how to do that, this has actual prompts under each of those sections that I talked about for customer service or sales and marketing, or research prompts or content creation prompts. I put about 4 or 5 for each one so that you could see actual prompts and it's not just an idea. You can take these, copy and paste them, and put them in ChatGPT and get the answers that you need. And these are the prompts that we've been using that have been super helpful. So go to luminaryleadershipco.com/ChatGPT ChatGPT. Okay, luminaryleadershipco.com/ChatGPT. You can grab it below if you're watching this. You can go to the show notes if you're listening. But do not underestimate the power of this tool. Do not be left behind. I told you I'm not an early adopter. I'm not cutting edge of, tech. I'm not a techie person. And this has been super easy and a great way to grow my business faster and to get more time back into my life. And if you're questioning the tool of AI, listen, me too, right? It is freaky. This totally can be used for the wrong things. I've already seen ways it's been used for the wrong things, but you can be out there using it for good and saving yourself time and being more present with your family, where you're pouring into your kids and you're raising your kids up right so that they can go on and change the world in a place where they're going to be up against things that are even crazier than tools like ChatGPT. All right, let me know your thoughts. Leave me a review. I love hearing from you. If you want to hear specific and more on this topic, drop it below if you're watching this. Please let us know what questions do you have about it. What of those sections do you want me to go deeper on? Do you want an entire episode around sales and marketing or around content creation? We can deliver that to you. And thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode gave you what you needed. If it spoke to you, please leave us a review and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next powerful episode. And I know it's so cliche to ask for a review. It always feels weird asking for one, but you guys, that makes a huge impact on the show. We read every one of them, and it helps us get incredible guests to serve you. Don't be shy. I love connecting with our listeners. You can follow along on Instagram when I'm on there at ElizHartke. And if there's a topic or a question or guest you have for us, reach out, share your thoughts. You can connect at marketing@luminaryleadershipco.com. And we do this for you. So the more you tell us, the more we can serve you. Thanks for spending some time with me. I really do appreciate you. Tune in next week to keep building your legacy and becoming the confident visionary leader you are meant to be.